city is taking centre stage in a new documentary.
Its intention is to kill sharks, to cull them.
The number of marine life that are dying, that's criminal.
A shocking new documentary is set to stir up debate about Queensland's shark control program.
It will cause controversy.
The shark control program.
Pressure is mounting on the state government.
100,000 signatures calling for the shark nets to be removed.
Envoy shark cull
features some of the biggest names in ocean conservation.
Envoy.
Envoy.
Hello everyone, Andre Burrell here, producer and director of Envoy Shark Cull. Thank you for joining me on the SharkNet podcast, where we do a deep dive into some of the nuance related to the shark culling programs that operate in Australia, specifically Queensland and New South Wales. Got another Queensland one this week. Let's do Queensland specific. So the whale entanglement that happened recently, if you haven't checked it out, check out episode 3, where we talk to some citizens that went and rescued a humpback from a shark net entanglement in Markula, because good old government were nowhere to be seen, didn't turn up, weren't anywhere on the horizon, weren't even coming, as far as we're aware, to help this whale that was entangled. So some citizens did it. 4 people went out there, saved this whale themselves. Now there was quite a big potential for that to turn into an even bigger story had the government tried to fine these people for what they did, because technically it was illegal. Technically it broke 2 different sections of the Fisheries Act 1994, piece of Queensland legislation that basically legislates fishing operations in Queensland, which the shark control program is. They'll pretend it's a beach safety program. It's not. It's a fishing program. It's there to catch and kill as many sharks as possible. It's fishing. It's legislated under the Fisheries Act. So them going and helping that whale was, actually a breach of 2 different pieces of the Fisheries Act that we're going to go into. Now, I go into that not to criticise what they did at all. Listen to the interview. We have no criticism for them for what they did whatsoever. If anything, it's the opposite. I go into this because we get the question a lot. We get the question, people see our film or they see our social media posts and they get angry, rightfully so. Government, taxpayer dollars should not be used to slaughter wildlife, especially protected and endangered wildlife. And they go, can't we just swim out there and cut them? Why don't we just go rip them out? We get that a lot. So, we're going to cover 2 things today. What in the fisheries legislation you would be charged under if you went and did that, and also historically how activists have gone and done that. Now, it's not to condone it, but we just feel that it's important to share how activists have historically messed with shark control equipment, putting themselves at the least risk possible and minimising any charges that could be laid against them by being smart about it. Not condoning it, just sharing what has historically happened, and then also going to share under the Fisheries Act what they might come at you with or come at you for if someone were to do that. Luckily, they chose not to do that with the whale incident, because that was clearly to help an animal that was in distress and needed to be rescued, and it's a non-target animal. They might not take that same view of other people doing it, just going and messing with shark control equipment because you disagree with the program. But let's just lay all the cards on the table. So, how did people do it? Let's start with that. So historically, not going to name names, obviously, but historically there's 2 ways that I'm aware of people messing with shark control equipment. Drumlines are pretty easy. Find the hook, drag it up by the chain, find the hook, and take the bait off it. A shark's not just going to bite a hook. It needs bait on it to entice sharks. So that's historically how I've heard stories of people messing with shark control equipment. Interesting side note to that is so many hooks don't have bait on them anyway. The bait falls off, or dolphins are pretty good at coming and nibbling the bait off, and all sorts of things. So a lot of hooks are debaited a lot of the time anyway. But yeah, we're aware of, again, not going to name names, but yeah, activists going and debating hooks, because that's going to protect anything from coming along and biting it. Not going to bite, just a plain hook. Shark nets, a little more complicated, but also pretty simple from what we've heard. So shark nets, as you probably know, if you've seen the documentary and you follow this closely, they don't go all the way to the bottom. In Queensland, they're top set nets, so the top part of the net is on the surface with a bunch of floaters, basically. Floats, sorry. Floaters are the politicians that continue this program. So there's the top of the net is on the surface, a bunch of floats, is very easy to spot. Then about 6 metres down is the bottom of the net. That's in 12 metres of water, so there's heaps of space underneath the net. Now, what, again, we have heard of is people basically pulling up that bottom part of the net, which is 6 metres deep, pulling that up and tying it with zip ties or something like that to the top part of the net. Basically, then you haven't done any vandalism, you haven't cut the net, destroyed the net. Cutting it could be a safety hazard. People could get entangled in it. Wildlife could get entangled with it if you've gone and cut a bunch of net and just left it floating there. So some smart activists, when I say smart, I mean minimising risks. They have historically, gotten the bottom part of the net, dragged it up to the top part of the net and tied them together. Basically deactivates the net. Nothing can get entangled in it then. It's all just bunched up on the surface, cannot harm a single thing. That's what we have heard of happening before. Now let's go into, if you're caught doing something like that, how the government might try and prosecute you to make an example of it, of you. So before I go into this legislation part, this is not legal advice. What was just said is not advice to go and do it. We're just putting all the cards on the table and sharing what we know about this topic. But this next part about legislation, not legal advice in any sort of way, and what was previously said, not telling you to go and do it in any way whatsoever. So, legislatively speaking, if you were to go and do what I just described, if you were to go and do what those four legends on the Sunshine Coast did, go and help an animal, even a humpback whale that is entangled in a net, here's what they might try and charge you with. Fisheries Act 1994, Section 31, Exclusion Zone. A person must not, without a reasonable excuse, be in the exclusion zone for shark control apparatus. Maximum penalty is 200 penalty units. Now, at the moment, penalty units change. They go up with inflation as to what the monetary value of one penalty unit is. 200 penalty units, it's about, it's over 30 grand. So, at the moment, the maximum penalty just for going within 20 metres, not even touching equipment, going within 20 metres is over 30 grand. And the reason it's so high is they really, really, really don't want you in there. They don't want you in there helping animals. They don't want you in there documenting what's going on and exposing it to the public. It's a gag order. It's a big, hefty fine to say, don't you dare go near that equipment and document it or help anything, or we'll come at you. To my knowledge, it's never actually been, and a fine has never actually been given under that. So that's interesting. I see a lot of people within 20 metres. And no one's ever been fined, so that's interesting. But yeah, just going within 20 metres of a piece of shark control equipment, 200 penalty units, about 30 grand maximum, if they wanted to. So be aware of that. Number 87, Section 87, interference, etc., with aquaculture activity or fishing apparatus. Here we go. I'm not going to read this whole thing. I'll put it in the show notes so you can read it yourself and digest it yourself and understand it yourself. But basically, a person must not unlawfully interfere with any aquaculture activity or fishing apparatus. Maximum penalty. So if you go and cut up a shark net or debait a drum line or zip tie the bottom of a shark net to the top of a shark net, that would be unlawfully interfere with aquaculture activity or fishing apparatus. Specifically fishing apparatus, because it's a fishing net. Maximum penalty, 500 penalty units. 500 penalty units. That's around 70 grand at the moment, if they really wanted to go you. There's more to that. That's just the first part of that clause, but you get the picture. I'll post the whole clause in the show notes. So, as you can see there, you go within 20 metres, 30 grand. You then mess with equipment, further 70 grand. Call it 100 gorillas all up. That is quite the deterrent, and that is absolutely 100% by design. The government do not want this program exposed by just filming it and showing what's going on. They do not want you helping. animals that are caught, because that's a good news story. They don't like good news stories that contradict the program. And then, thirdly, then going and basically unlawfully interfering with it. That could be cutting up a net, debaiting a drumline, etc., etc. They don't want you doing that either. For obvious reasons, they want to kill as many sharks as possible. It's the sole purpose of the program, is to cull shark populations, reduce shark populations. They don't care about all the bycatch. They don't do anything about all the bycatch. And they don't want you doing anything about it either. So those are the facts. Again, not condoning or asking anyone to go and do anything. Not presenting that as legal advice. But there's certainly some interesting things in those clauses. The Exclusion Zone 1 says you can't be in there without a reasonable excuse. Is going and helping a whale a reasonable excuse? We don't know. No one's tested that in the courts because no one's been, as far as I'm aware, no one's been fined for that infraction. So we don't know. We don't know how a judge would look at that and go, what's a reasonable excuse, what's not. And I don't want this to turn into giving legal advice because I'm not a lawyer and this isn't legal advice, but you have to wonder, is a reasonable excuse, e.g., what would a reasonable person do? Probably go and help a humpback whale, you would think. But who knows? Hasn't been tested. I'm not a lawyer. I don't know. Those are the facts, laying all the cards on the table because we do get this question quite a bit. Do with that information what you will. Do with that information what you will. But it's a disgusting program. I think the people that run it and support it are disgusting and shouldn't be happening. Shouldn't be happening in 2024 in a developed country. It's just an absurd approach to beach safety. Absolutely absurd. I think that's pretty much all I wanted to cover today. Hope you found that interesting. This one went a bit long. My apologies. We'll put all those clauses in the show notes. Do your own due diligence, obviously. Look into this. If you think there's an avenue to do something legally, please do. All right, take care, everyone. Till next time. Take care.
My first time swimming with a tiger shark was on the Gold Coast, and she was literally taking her last breaths in front of us.
For 83 years and counting, we've been running the world's longest marine cull.
It is just off our coastline, but it's so hidden from the public.
You're afraid naturally of something that you don't know. They're actually the real victims and the ones that have something to fear.
Its intention is to kill sharks, to cull them.
It is absolutely archaic that we're relying on a program that was devised in 1930.
I hope to think every Australian can think like this.
It's not a solution by any means. They're just killing sharks.
People are unaware that this device is a fishing device.
We're killing in the Great Barrier Reef Marine Park.
I think once people realize what's happening, how senseless the killing actually is, I think they should be outraged about what is happening to Australia's beautiful natural resources.
We're the government and we are keeping you safe from this big scary thing.
They have no education in, no background in, and don't know what they're doing.
It is in effect a gag order, and it's near impossible to get any footage underwater.
Observations and concerns about the safety of the operation and potential jeopardy that you put.
What if our ignorance is about to wipe them out?
There's a good chance this documentary may actually start its own feeding frenzy.